What up, YouTube? Big Lou tapping on in with What to Do with Big Lou. So as everybody knows, the NBA Finals just passed. The 21-22 NBA Draft has just passed. The Warriors picked up three youngsters, Rollins, Santos, and I can't think of the other guy's name right offhand right now. Anyways, and they're moving forward, and now they're going to start working on the free agency deadline. I believe is Wednesday. So now they're going to work on that with, priorities as far as Wiggins and Jordan Poole and, reconstructing this roster again to push for another title. So as everybody knows, Kyrie's in the news big time about what he's going to do. He's currently set to make like $36 million this year. I believe it is $36 million. And but he's eligible for a max contract, so it's like $198 million for 4 seasons, which breaks down to like $49 million a season, something like that. And but the man only played 29 games last year. You know what I mean? He decided, to put himself what he felt he needed to do for himself, whatever, and he missed a lot of games because he didn't want to comply with the COVID vaccination deal that the state of New York put out there. And since Brooklyn is in New York, you figure even if you take the home games, that's 41 games, and then you figure they got to play the New York Knicks, which is also New York, so that's a few more games off, right? So, what would he have been eligible to play? 41 games is half the season. We'll say 36. We'll say 36 games, and he played in 29 of them. He teamed up with Kevin Durant following the 2019-2020 season when the Raptors beat the Warriors in the finals. And KD went down a couple rounds before that. And then he ended up injuring himself in the Rockets. I believe it was the Rockets game. No. It was the Rockets game 5, I believe it was, or game 4. And then he tore his Achilles in the Raptors game 6, I think it was, or 5. I don't remember. Anyways, so Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn to go sign with Brooklyn along with Kyrie, they considered themselves best friends at the time, whatever. Okay, so Kyrie already shows, he's not that type of teammate. He's not that type of player. You hear some of these guys saying, oh, well, he's just doing what's best for him. Now, if he was doing what was best for him, he would have complied with what he agreed with and signed on the dotted line. If you want to get technical with all that, then we can go there. But it was funny about all this, that he gave a wish list of like 6 teams that he would like to go. So now you want to shit on your team that you're currently with, the Nets, who bent over backwards to give you whatever you wanted. You know what I mean? They brought in KD, your best friend, right? They brought in other players, right? They got rid of players on their behalf. They even got rid of a coach. Now you got Steve Nash over there, who's a multi-NBA All-Star, 2-time MVP. He helped change the game too with the alley-oop Lob City or Lob Alley, whatever they called it, with Amari Stoudemire and that Mike D'Antoni pace basketball. So anyways, what's funny about all this, so back to Kyrie. Kyrie missed out on $15 million last year. He missed out on due to not playing. And I even think he lost some type of endorsement. You know what I mean? So this is Brooklyn, New York. So when you comes down to the spotlights and the notoriety and the the possibility, not the possibility, but of you getting your name out there and the media and all that, which they already know what Kyrie Irving's about. So those are the two biggest areas as far as media coverage is New York and LA, right? So now they're talking about out of the 6 teams, I think it was the Lakers, the Clippers, both LA teams, right? Miami Heat, Dallas Mavericks, I believe Philly. So what are they gonna do? Trade Kyrie to Philly and bring James Harden back when James Harden is due also for max this coming year at $47 million, which they're waiting for his answer too on the deadline. You know what I mean? It just sounds weird now how this narrative is going. KD could possibly go back to the Warriors. Kyrie could be possibly teamed back up again with LeBron. Russ Westbrook, if the Lakers do make some type of trade, they get rid of West, Westbrook, who's also getting 47 million a season, right? And reunite him and KD when KD got away from him because he felt he couldn't win a chip with him. So you're talking about three different scenarios here that were already at one time together. Now, can you imagine that if KD went back to the Warriors after all the shit that's been talked, from the media, from other players, that, first of all, that narrative that, the Warriors needed him, and they didn't need him. They wanted him, which who wouldn't want him? He's the best player in the basketball at the time. I still believe he's number one. Possibly he might have been dropped down to number two because Giannis is just a different beast. As far as he does a lot of the same stuff that Kevin Durant does, but he's more beastie down low, more rebounds, more block shots. I think KD, once he went to New Jersey, he fell away from the defensive aspect of his game because I thought he improved on it big time when he was with the Warriors and the system they ran. It just made him a whole better player. Same thing like with Andrew Wiggins. Of course, Andrew Wiggins is not no KD. Big difference. He's 6'7", KD's 6'9", 6'10". KD had over a 7-foot wingspan. Andrew Wiggins, he's got a decent wingspan too. But my point to all this is that, Kevin Wiggins went from being called a so-called one of the biggest busts in history, NBA history, to becoming an all-star for the first time. Winning a chip, obviously. And not only did he win a chip, he just wasn't like a player like Matt Barnes or somebody like that where the Warriors got and, barely got any minutes. This guy was a starter. Like I said, a couple games it wasn't for him, and especially that last game, his tremendous defense on those few games on Tatum, man. He shut him down, really. You're talking a guy who almost averaged 30 points a season in the regular season, down to almost 10. He held him down to, I think, 22 or 23 points a game. So you're talking almost 10 points lower of his season average, and then in the playoffs, Tatum was kicking ass too, as far as scoring. So that's what I meant by that, the defense and the comparison. But they needed KD to defeat LeBron. No, I don't believe that one bit. It went to Game 7. You know what I mean? Not to mention, Draymond got that technical and he got suspended. But, the Cavs pushed that, man. The Cavs pushed that, for him to be suspended during that finals and not carry it over to the next season and suspend him. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if you guys are aware, but Draymond was he was sinking shots from everywhere. He had like 30-some points that game. And, anyways, I don't want to get too much on that, but Kevin Durant came, and they had to reconstruct their roster due to the fact that he came in with a big contract, which they did. They had to let go of Ezeli and Marcus Spates and Leandro Barbosa and David Lee and some of those guys. They had to let go. You know what I mean? And then they brought in David West and guys like that. David West and they had a couple young dudes, you know what I mean? But David West was a big push, a leadership guy off the bench, you know what I mean? Had been around the league, Spurs and Charlotte. And I think David West was even with Indiana, I believe. Don't quote me on that one, though. So anyways, they did what they had to do. The same thing the next season after they won that first title with him. 2016, 2017, they won that first one. Then off season, there was a lot of questions. Are they going to bring Livingston back? Iguodala, they're going to bring him back. This and that, which they did. You know what I mean? That's why I'm wearing this hat right here. 2018 champs. And that season, that during that run in the playoffs, Durant got hurt against Houston, and then the Warriors. We were almost on the verge of getting eliminated. And keep in mind, KD didn't play, right? KD didn't play. Warriors won those games, and they knocked out Houston. Then they moved on to Portland, which, again, KD didn't play, and they whooped Portland too. So all this stuff, they needed KD. They didn't need him to get there, that's for sure. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. KD's, like I said, I had him down as the best player in basketball, and I still have him right there. You know what I mean? He's 1 or 2 right now as we speak, right? But I don't hate on Kevin Durant at all. That dude's a monster. He's a beast. He's a one of a kind. He's like he's the golden prototype for a ultimate basketball player at that size who can run the floor like that, who can get open in the open court. You know what I mean? He could play point if he has to, point forward. He could play center if he really has to. You know what I mean? He stepped his game up on the defensive end when he came to the Golden State. You know what I mean? He could pull up from anywhere on the floor. He can even have a 7-foot center guarding him, and he could just jump right up and pull right up on him. You know what I mean? Like just and knock it down right in his face. You know what I mean? His wingspan is tremendous. Like I think they said a 7'6" wingspan. So you know what I mean. So you know they don't need Kevin Durant to win. They won, like I said, 2015, 2016. Okay, then people are gonna say, oh, but LeBron didn't have Kevin Love and he didn't have Kyrie Irving. Okay, what happened to Kevin Love? He got hurt against who? Boston. I think it was Kelly Onyx or however you pronounce that dude's name. He did something to him. I don't remember. Then Kyrie Irving got an injury. I don't remember what team he got hurt against, but um, KD was out, and then we ended up getting Clay injured, in which he ended up losing two full seasons. So again, you know, I don't want to hear all that bullshit. Oh, well, injuries are part of the game, man. We suffered through it. You know, we suffered. It is what it is. It's part of the game. You know, like the Lakers, 1980. Kareem gets hurt. What happens? They put a rookie in his place who was a point guard. Yeah, he's 6'9", but they put him at center, and what that man do? 42 points, 17 rebounds, or something like that. 15 rebounds and 7 assists on 42 point scoring. You know what I'm saying? So it's key when these guys can step up and fill those voids. That's what a team is about. That's what a squad's about. A well-oiled machine that when somebody goes down, somebody automatically steps up. Or it might be a collective of players, 2 guys or 3 guys that do their thing to take place of that one superstar that's missing. And that's what the Warriors did too with when Kevin Durant was out. You know, Clay stepped up big time in Game 6 against Houston. You know what I mean? You had other guys, like I said, David West. You had Jordan Bell, you know, Sean Livingston. You know what I mean? You had all these dudes, Clavon Looney. These guys were stepping up, man, and they were filling in the void, and they were taking care of business, you know, for their squad. It's not always me. You know, when you see these dudes take less money and reconstruct their contract and take less money to ensure that they're you know, they got the pieces in place, or they picked up who they needed or whatever to continue winning. That's what the Warriors are about, and many other organizations. You mean to tell me if it comes down the line where the Warriors are over you know, a little bit of money on this and that, you telling me that Draymond and Steph and they won't reconstruct their contract to take a little bit less in order to win? You can't tell me they wouldn't. I don't even believe it. You know, and at the point here, you know, that's another thing too when it comes down to contracts and all that. You know, like I believe in this is my personal opinion, and they got a bunch of rules when it comes to contracts and all that. In order to get the max deal, I believe right now you have to be like on the All NBA first, second, or third team, something like that, right? And be an All-Star. I'm not sure if it depends what's in your contract, but if it's in your contract. So like that 1 year it was in Clay's contract. If you made All NBA team 1, 2, or 3, he could get the max deal, and he didn't get it. He wasn't selected on one of the first All NBA first team, second team, or third team, so he wasn't eligible for that max contract, which is I think is kind of bullshit. To be honest with you, I don't believe you should be able to get a max contract where you're getting $45-50 million a year unless you've actually won championships. That's what I honestly believe. Look at James Harden. His numbers are going down, as far as scoring-wise. His assist numbers are still at like 11 from last year, almost 8 rebounds a game. But as far as his scoring, it went down a lot, you know. And he's never won shit. Nothing. He didn't even win he hasn't even won a Western Conference Finals series. He's never even been in the finals game yet. Not once. And you got guys like Curry who's been there 6 times. You know, Klay Thompson 6 times. Kevin Durant's been there, Kevin Durant's been there twice, 4 times. Kevin Durant, 2 wins with the Warriors, a loss when he was on OKC against Miami, and a loss with the Warriors against Toronto. So that's what I honestly believe. So when it breaks down like that, pretty much the only ones that are eligible for them top contracts is LeBron, KD, Steph. You know what I mean? Those dudes, you know. And I don't see nobody else, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, Kyrie's got a ring too, but all the other shenanigans that he's about, you know what I mean? So give me your take on that, what you think, and I'm gonna make another video about KD and some other things coming up shortly here. All right, YouTube, Big Lou tapping out with What It Do with Big Lou, and the No Fly Zone will be live today at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're on the West Coast, that'll be 5:30. If you're in Texas, it'll be 7:30. If you're in Chicago, Detroit, around there, 7:30. All right, Big Lou tapping out with What It Do with Big Lou.